Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's Adeniki McKendy, your purpose coach and career strategist, back to talk to you more about purpose, finding joy, finding meaning in your work. We work about 90,000 hours in our lifetime, is what they say 90,000 hours. And let me just tell you, you really want to make sure that you are doing something that brings you joy during those 90,000 hours. So I'm excited today to come and talk to you a little bit more about why purpose is practical. That is our topic for today. So let's jump into the topic. But actually, before I jump into the topic, let me just kind of share with you a little bit. The clients that I help, again, typically are 40 plus year old clients who really just appreciate the fact that I was able to help them really get crystal clear on what that purpose was, walk that out and get results. And so again, I would encourage you, if you know anyone who's a 40 plus year professional who literally is what we would call a multi-passionate. They're someone who uses their analytical side and their creative side. They're not just one or the other, they're both. And they've really been struggling with finding work or companies that really can appreciate that. Please feel free to share this live and tell them to come on over here, because that is what I specialize in, helping you really pull together your diverse experiences to really understand what you were meant to do, and then finding companies that appreciate, value, and respect you for those things. So if you know anybody who fits that category, please tell them to come on over and let's chat. So let's just jump into the topic today. What I want to talk to you about is how to identify purpose through your passions and your dreams. Now, this is really a hot topic for me because there's this term out there called the dream job, right? For those of you, any of us who've been in the work world for any amount of time, you've probably heard that term. Oh, what's your dream job? Or I got to go out and find my dream job. Now, I personally don't like the term because typically when someone says dream jobs, they're typically thinking about some big tech company where they get, catered lunches and unlimited PTO, and there's a foosball court, and, they get to go on these company outings. So they're typically thinking about some ideal that somebody else made up. Okay, as opposed to really digging through and understanding what their dream job would be. Your dream job could be, fishing in Alaska, because you just love being on the outdoors. You love, fishing. Your dream job could be a landscape architect where you have your hands in the ground, doing work on the outside. Dream job is really going to depend on, again, who you are as a person and what you really, really value. And so I really wanted to just break that dream job down. Are you really looking for a dream job that you came up with, or that somebody gave to you? Is it somebody else's dream jobs? Again, for those of us who were raised in households where parents had very distinct paths that they wanted us to take, what does that dream job look like? I know my dad, he told me right out front, I want you to be a doctor and a lawyer. And that's what his parents told him. They wanted them to be in the medical field or in law, something like that, because those were considered dream jobs. Those were considered sexy jobs. And I knew that neither of those were my dream job. Neither of those were anything that I wanted to do. So you really have to sit down and think about, hey, did my parents, did my teachers, did somebody else give me this dream, or is this really my dream? And how do you figure that out? Because again, there's a lot of stuff out here that could be possibly, that looks sexy. We like to use that. It's sexy, to have a certain type of a job. If you're an investment banker, that's considered sexy. Or if you're, a lawyer, again, a doctor, those titles tend to be very sexy, right? But again, it's not about the title. It's not about the position. It is about, are you doing what you were put here to do? Are you tapping into your gifts, your talents, your genius, your life experiences? And really, not only is that the work that brings you tremendous joy, but you're helping other people, okay? Your dream jobs should fill you with joy and excitement, and you should very clearly be able to see how it helps other people. So let's be clear, when we're talking about dream job, that's not somebody else's made up thing. That is where you have to go deep and really figure out what it is, what's already on the inside of you. It's not something somebody gives you from the outside. It's something that you already have on the inside. You simply have to discover it. So guys, does that make sense? That makes sense. If it makes sense, give me a like or drop a 1 into the group and let me know that makes sense to you. And again, I am doing something, just wanting to make sure that I am getting, the kingdom is here. Well, Jasmine, yes. Thank you so much. Love it. So let's talk a little bit about again, if you've already reflected on what that dream job looks like for you, or what your dreams and your passions are, you wrote those things out. The one thing that I want to encourage you to do is, before you start making a list of, well, I want an office window, I want unlimited PTO, I want catered lunches every day, I want a company car. Like I said, I have a whole list here of perks, that a lot of companies now offer their people, external things. But are those perks really what's going to bring you satisfaction? Nothing wrong with those perks. And you should absolutely sit down and think about the perks that you want, the benefits and the things that the company brings from an external perspective. But before you do any of that, you really want to think about the inner stuff, about the inner feeling that you want to have when you work with the company. What do you guys think about that? Thank you, Jasmine. Appreciate it. What do you guys think about that? Tell me what you think about that. When you think about, work, that your passions and your dream. Again, when I say passions and dream, immediately you should feel in your gut like an excitement and energy. I like to use the word energy. What energizes you? And here's some terms that you should be really looking to feel whenever you're thinking about your dream job. Do you feel empowered? Okay? Do you feel like you have a sense of ownership and power in the thing that you're doing? Okay? Do you feel respected? Okay? Do you feel like the people that are around you, your boss, do you feel respected? Is that something you feel when you think about the work that you're currently involved in? I have a whole list here. Do you feel joyful? I mean, honestly, do you feel just a well of joy every time you wake up and get ready? You're singing and humming and, excited and ready to go in. Well, what do you guys think? Drop some words that come to you. I have a whole list here: joyful, empowered, respected, appreciated, confident, optimistic. When you're thinking about a dream job, tell me what word comes up for you from an inner perspective. Jasmine says the stuff is easy to think of, but the perks aren't necessarily fully purposeful. Yep. That is true. The stuff comes to our mind immediately. You're like, oh, that'd be fun. Oh, that sounds great. But you're right. In terms of your purpose, would you really stay at a company just because, they had a wellness room where you could take a nap in the middle of the day, or, they offered you a company card? Those are wonderful things. Don't get me wrong. But are those things going to make you feel like your life has purpose? Are those things going to really make you feel like you are impacting the world, making a difference, changing the world, making it a more positive place for your children or your loved ones? That's what you really have to think about. So I would love, again, to hear what are the words that come up for you? What are the words that come up for you when you're thinking about passion and dreams? Okay, think about those and drop those in again, because again, like I said, the company, they can offer you external stuff all day long, but if you don't feel empowered, respected, appreciated, joyful, confident, optimistic, like I said, you pick your word. Whatever you want to feel on the inside every day when you wake up, then that's what you actually have to go for whenever you're looking for companies. And let's just be real. Companies are great marketing machines, right? Great marketing machines. So they're going to put it out there and it's going to look like the best thing since sliced bread. You're going to be like, yes, this is it. This is it. But I can't even tell you how many people have reached out to me and said, when I was looking for companies, this company had a great sales message, and they sold me. But when I actually got in there, it was nothing like that. I wasn't working with people who respected me. I wasn't able to do challenging work. It wasn't, like I said, the atmosphere, the energy was off. Okay, so you have to be able to kind of dig past the surface and really understand what the energy is doing. Being with a company that respects that, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. Sometimes there's going to be failure, but listen, if you give me the ownership to drive these things, I'll at the end get you the result. I love that. So when you know that, that's a question you really want to ask at any interview that you go into and say, listen, what is your philosophy about, making mistakes as a part of the learning process? What is your philosophy about, failures and how those maybe add to being able to innovate? These are questions you definitely want to ask. So I love that, Jasmine. I love your ideas of ownership and power, joyful, respected, appreciated. Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, we have to go in thinking about, how do I want to feel when I work for this person? How do I want to feel when I go into work every day? If you are feeling like your gut, like I said, is in knots, if you're feeling like, oh my God, what craziness is going to go on today? If you're walking in with tightness, stress, anxiety, depression, any of these things, even just the feeling of being micromanaged, that's just a horrible feeling. That is one of my top not valued things, is someone hovering over my neck telling me this is what I have to do. And so be thinking about, how do you want to feel when you go into this situation, okay? And so what I'm encouraging you to do is sit down. What I actually tell my clients to do is we sit down and write out a vivid story of what your perfect day would look like. So that's why I'm saying, when you're considering your purpose, you do want to consider your passions and dreams. And I say, listen, you want to just put all limitations aside. All limitations aside. Don't think about, can it be done? Can I do that? Don't think about any of that stuff that as adults, we become conditioned to kind of, eliminate ourselves from the process, because we're like, that's not realistic, that can't happen. All of a sudden, we just let the dreams go and get stuck in this, realistically, what can happen? No. If you were to sit down and write a vivid picture of what the perfect day for you would look like, combining your work life with your personal life, what would that look like? Okay? And so, Jasmine, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that affirmation. I appreciate that. Absolutely. But I actually did that. I've done it multiple times, but I always like to just kind of share a little bit of my story to kind of, like I said, if you've never done this before, it's a powerful exercise, because as you're imagining it in your mind, your body actually feels it. And I mean, you literally get lost in that world. I mean, it is an exercise that I encourage everybody to do. When you realize that, listen, I'm the best there is. Like I said, in your own unique way, even if there are other people who do the exact same thing that you do, in your own unique way, you are the absolute best at what you do. Because when you combine your genius, your life experiences, and all of that other stuff, on top of your skills, on top of your personality, and you put it all together, you are absolutely right. You are bomb.com, and certain employers are gonna love it. Let's just be real about this. Certain employers are going to hate it, but that's the whole point. You want to repel the employers or the organizations that don't appreciate that, and attract the ones that do appreciate it. I mean, we have been taught for so long to just scrub ourselves down, right? To conform, to go get the job. What are they looking for? And let me make myself like that. No way. That is out the door. Listen, when you're your purest, most authentic self, you are going to attract a specific type of person, and a very specific type of employer. And that's where you're going to find your joy, because they're going to love you for everything you bring and for who you are, and not always looking at you sideways saying, well, why is she like that? Or why did she do that? Or XYZ, whatever that looks like. So you should be happy if what you offer repels some people. That lets you know, hey, that's not part of, that's not part of what's for me. That's not part of my dream. That's not part of my goal. And so again, like I said, sit down. I would encourage you, take a piece of paper. I have my little list here, but sit down, take a piece of paper, and like I said, write down the externals, because certainly there are some external things that, you're going to want to figure out, when you think about your perfect dream day and like what that looks like professionally. Absolutely. Sit down and think about, are you working from home? Are you working in an office? Are you working outside? Are you working in some type of manufacturing setting? Think about that. Think about what you're wearing. Think about the times of day that you're working, thinking about, if you're traveling sometime, if you're, staying, close to home most of the time, how is that supporting your family? Think about all those externals, but make sure that you are also, next to all those things, putting down internally what you're feeling. I am excited because, and then talk about what's exciting, for you. I feel respected because, my boss is consistently coming to me and asking for my opinions and allowing me to take on projects, and kind of go do my thing. I really feel appreciated, because every time I add value to this company, they're giving me awards, or, they're sponsoring me on a trip. You want to sit down and write down both sides of that coin, when you think about your passions and your dreams. And that's what's going to help you really identify where that purpose is.